Cool. So I've done. I'm speaking to Jade. Blah blah blah. She's so good, Jade. Blah 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 blah. Question.
Hi, welcome to Meet the Makers, a video series where I put questions to creators from around the world about their videography and photography businesses, mainly in the wedding industry. But first, I want to share with you a short video about a workshop for videographers and photographers that I have coming up later in the year. If you'd like to learn more about the workshop, there's more information in the description below. Today I'm going to be talking to Jade from Hushabye Films, a wedding videography company based here in the UK. As you can see, Jade's films are fun, vibrant, colourful and edgy. They're filled with laughter, they're filled with attitude, and they're filled with a lot of smoke bombs. Let's go straight in with question 1. So hi Jade, thanks for joining me today. I'm going to go straight into the first question.
Okay.
How did you get into videography?
Okay, so before I did weddings, I had quite a long career in television. So I was a producer, director before I left. Did a bit of series producing as well. That was the last job I did. Probably 15 years working in TV. So I started at MTV. And was thrown in the deep end with a camera, and I didn't actually really know how to use it, but I was forced to know how to use it very quickly. One of the first interviews I did on a red carpet was with the Gallagher brothers, and I did this whole interview with them, and everyone was like, yes, MTV haven't had an interview with Oasis for so long, amazing. And then I realised I hadn't plugged in the microphone. So I had to be going, oh, Liam, can you come back and redo that interview? And it's like, f*** off. So I didn't actually get that. But I was only about 21 years old, so all is forgiven. So yeah, I did a lot of music, television, live entertainment shows, music festivals, youth TV, T4, that kind of thing. So yeah, a lot of fun and kind of big, large scale shows.
Okay, that's really good. I don't think a lot of people have got that path, so that's interesting. What made you start shooting weddings? Why did you leave all of that behind and start shooting?
So I was filming and using a camera up until I had my first little boy. I was massively pregnant and still holding a camera and still running around and shooting stuff, which I would recommend anyone that's worried about working while pregnant. Just work as long as you can. It's worth it. But yeah, I had both my kids quite close together, and just trying to do a commute into London and working those kind of hours was just not going to work. At least I didn't kind of finish thinking that was the end of TV for me, but I did think, well, I'm just going to stop for now and see if I want to go back. And then I started to just do little cute kid films, but there's not really that much demand for kids films, and certainly not the amount of money that you'd need to make it like the only thing you did. So someone said, why don't you do a wedding film? And I just thought that was just the naffest, cheesiest thing. I was just like, excuse me, don't you know who I am?
I've interviewed the Gallagher brothers and no one saw it.
So I just didn't, because when I was looking for my own wedding, there were just there was maybe the odd videographer that I thought, oh, that looked good, all right, but it was just never anything that I'd gone, oh my God, that's exactly what I want for my wedding. So I didn't actually have a videographer at my own wedding. But I started to have, I thought, well, maybe it could be a good thing to do. I had a little look around, and I could see people in America were trying to do things a bit differently, and I just thought, I've got absolutely nothing to lose. I'm not working at the moment. I'll just start making these films how I wanted to have my wedding film and see if people liked it and wanted it. And luckily it went crazy. And yeah, so I feel like there's like already like loads of people filming like that now. There was no one a few years ago kind of doing the kind of fast-paced kind of fun vibes. It was all very romantic and cinematic. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of people that like that kind of thing.
How would you describe your style, and how did you settle on that style?
Well, to start off, I would say my style is kind of fun and fast-paced and all about the joy and just amazing moments in weddings. There's still like a bit of romance in there, but it's mainly focused on the couple. That's my main interest. Obviously, you're going to see that it's a wedding and there's loads of people there, but it's about how the couple are together and how they interact. So that's kind of the main part of my films. But yeah, definitely fun and fast-paced.
Okay. Is that because that's what you were looking for when you were getting married?
Yeah, it's kind of, I guess it's like, it's come from working at MTV and being obsessed with music videos, and that's kind of it's just already in me to make stuff like that. So I kind of just thought, well, that's how I'd want my wedding kind of shown. So that's what I've made.
So you're really looking for couples who they want to be in front of the camera like the whole time, because your films are mainly about the couple.
Yeah, I would say a lot of people, when they do book me, they say, oh, we're not sure, maybe we're not like cool enough or fun enough, and it's really not like that. Like, I will G you up through the day. Like, it's kind of my job. It's not my job just to stand there with the camera. Like, I'm directing as well, and I'm helping you, but it's fun. It's not like a awful experience. Like, they'll enjoy it, like mucking around, and I get like all the bridesmaids and ushers and family members in, so it's not kind of too intense.
And you say you were working with like big cameras and stuff in MTV and stuff. Is that what made you settle on what is like a fairly professional video camera? Because I know you currently use the Canon Cinema series.
I know lots of people, I don't know what it is, but I don't think it's a massive camera, but anyone else is like, oh my God, how do you carry that all day? Like, it's really not, it's this big. Like, it's not, obviously it's not this big. It's a C100. So it was kind of like a no-brainer. Like, I had used, what was I using first? I had just like a 5D, and that, like, when I worked in TV, like, the DSLRs was like when they came in, that was like a massive, like, we'd never even thought of using like a photography camera to film. Like, it was like a major change, and that was like a turning point for me, like learning about lenses and making things look beautiful in camera. So I used a 5D, but it was just so shit for like audio, and like there just wasn't the right stuff I needed, really.
No, you were having to add all this stuff on,
and I just thought,
really fit.
yeah, it didn't make it easy. And the C100 just seemed like it didn't seem like it is. It's set up for filming, so everything's on there. But I've had it for maybe like 2 or 3 years now. So I am starting to think maybe I want to get the new Sony, but every time I think about it, I just feel really stressed. So I haven't. It's so easy to use. So it's just like, oh, do I want to switch everything?
Yeah, I used to use it, and I really liked it as a camera. The main things that's made me change was it's not 4K, is it? And people started asking for 4K, and also that I do have multiple cameras, and to have more than one of them would be a hassle. And I didn't really like any of the other Canon cameras to match with it. So you just shoot one camera, is that right?
Just one camera, yeah. I can't.
Yeah, so that sort of makes it easier, I think.
Yeah, I can't be doing, like, weddings are not stressful, but there's just so much going on, isn't there? And I just have the one camera, and
no, I envy you being able to get it down to one camera. I feel like I could get it down to 2 sometimes. It's normally 3, but 1, I don't know. But I think it's the types of films you're making is more. It's sort of snappier and everything, and you can cut away from stuff. And it all fits.
Yeah, it's more of a visual creation.
Visual feast.
Yes, feast, rather than, the kind of long lingering shots that kind of all need to make sense and connect. I can see why you'd need a lot more angles for that. But
And what about lenses you use? What do you stick with?
I use, I mean, the two that I kind of switch between are the 50mm and the 24mm on the Sigma Art.
Okay.
And I used to use the 50 the most, but I really like the 24 at them. I just use that a lot.
Okay.
I quite like what it looks like really close up with a wide.
Yeah.
So they're the main ones.
And do you get right up in people's faces with your camera?
Obviously not, like I pick my moments. I'm not... when the groom is like crying, I'm like right in there. No, I pick my moments, and I definitely, I mean, everyone would say the same, like towards the end of the day when everyone's a lot more comfortable around you, they've got to know you a bit. I can definitely, I wouldn't say like I get in people's faces, but I feel comfortable to direct people. Like if there's like a group of wild friends, I'll say, come on, why don't we do a conga, and I won't get the bride and groom and whatever it is. So I kind of get them all in and get them all. People, they love doing it. I'm obviously not going to go to the people that are like, oh God, don't take a picture. I do get loads of people that say don't come near me, so I won't come near you. So yeah, I just choose the right moments basically.
And do you sell that on your website? You make it clear that I'm going to get involved. I'm going to be...
Yeah, I think as soon as you watch one film,
you can tell.
If you want that, and I've had people go, oh, but can you? I've had people say, can you make it more romantic or slower, or have had less fun, which I think I've told you about. Can you make it? Can I have the same but less fun? So I've just said, look, maybe go see Toby. I don't know.
I am less fun.
You have to kind of make that call at the beginning, because there's no point making a film that they're not going to love or want or be part of. And I have said to people, like, you have to give me time on the day to do stuff. I'm not just going to hide behind a photographer and get some little kissing shots. Like, if you want that fun, wild type of film, then you've got to let me get it. And I didn't get that at the start when I first started doing films. I hadn't really been to that many weddings before I started doing them, so I was kind of a bit, a little bit nervous and not as confident, and kind of hiding a little bit and not asking them to do things. But once I knew what kind of style I wanted, and people said they wanted it back, I could be confident to say, right, well, you've got to let me do it.
And do you think your work beforehand helped with that style? Like, you already knew how to edit that sort of thing and stuff like that?
Well, I didn't actually ever edit before I did wedding films. I was in TV, you kind of so I would film everything, but you'd just then hand it over to an editor, and sometimes you'd sit in the edit, but more often not, I would be the shooting producer director, then the edit producer edits with the editor, so it's like a whole group of people making something. So I had to learn how to edit when I started doing wedding films, but I guess I had a better understanding of how to put stuff together because of TV, I suppose.
And what, carrying on with the techie questions for a minute, what software did you settle on for editing, and why did you use that? Was there a reason?
Well, I started with iMovie when I first, I literally had never sat in front of a computer. I didn't know how to do anything. So what did I have? I had iMovie. So I said, oh, right, okay, worked out how to do it. And then obviously it became clear that it was just so shit and so difficult to use. And I was like, surely this is not this is not the way. But I obviously knew I used to work in loads of post-production houses, so I knew about all the different types. And in TV, Final Cut was the one that everyone really used, or Avid. But then I just did a bit of research, and a friend said as well, try Premiere, it's really obvious how to use it. So that's why I used it, and I did get it straight away. But I know it's pissed me off many a time. So again,
I hear it crashes a lot. I don't use it.
It's so slow sometimes, but it's more that I'm so comfortable with it. I know how to use it. It's just go on to something else. But
it's hard to move.
But I know I'd be able to do it if I went on to Final Cut or something. But it is just, I should be utilising this time to get a new camera, get Final Cut. The homeschooling is not helping.
Well, so you've never looked at things like DaVinci or any of those ones that are,
I did look at it, and I knew about it for grading and stuff.
So what's your workflow? So you record in camera, do you then colour everything? Do you have a workflow for that, or do you try and do as much in camera as you can?
No, I don't really. I shoot it all flat. And then I've got like a few different lots that I use that obviously like everyone's got their favourites, but yeah, I do a lot of colour correction and grading. Like when I used to work in post-production, the grading side of things was the only thing that I was like, oh, I could see myself doing that. Like I thought I was like, I thought I was definitely like all about being on location and producing and directing, and I never kind of thought I'd like editing, but grading I thought, oh yeah, I'd really like that. But actually I really love editing now. I think it's so fun, and you can make it into something.
It's my favourite bit as well, to be honest.
When people say they want to outsource it, like I get it in terms of like time wise, but that is, you know, you're shooting stuff and on the day it's in your head because you're like, oh, I'm going to do that with it in the edit. So I'd find it so strange to like just pass it on to someone. Here, you do that.
That's the bit of it I find harder, because I've had a few weddings I couldn't do that someone shot for me and then I edited it. But then that's sort of fun because you're seeing all the footage and building a story of it. The idea of me shooting a whole wedding and having an idea in my head how it should look and then just passing that to someone else who would make a completely different decision, I find...
Because everyone sees things so differently, don't they? So...
What's the favourite part of working in weddings? What's your favourite thing? Is it the people, or is it the editing, or is it the actual wedding day, or, you know, what is it?
Oh, it's so difficult, isn't it? Because we have got like an amazing job, like obviously not at the moment, but we have got an amazing job, and there's so many elements to it that I love. Like I do love meeting people and having a good rapport with people and getting people to do stuff. Is really fun. Like, go on, do it. I love meeting photographers and, you know, seeing how people have kind of designed their wedding day, like all their ideas and things like that. But I think, you know, it is hard work shooting like a wedding. It's a long day, and when I get back it's obviously really late, and then I just have to lie in a bath for like an hour because I'm just like, I'm so drained, because it's not just like, you know, you're on your feet, okay, it's physically draining, but it's mentally draining because you're having to keep up a kind of, I don't know, you know, be on your best behaviour, be so nice, be so lovely, and
when everything's going wrong, you're having to carry on.
Yeah, like, oh God. So, you know, it's quite stressful. So it's nice to just sit with all that footage and kind of make something without any kind of bother. And then once you've got the music involved, it's I love it. But finding music is obviously, as you know, horrendous.
Also, because you have a particular, I guess, the music really matters, because you often do films that maybe don't have any other audio, so the song really is telling the whole thing. So I guess, to people, I don't know, do you get couples wanting to be part of that, or do you just say, look, I'll choose the perfect song?
I say, weirdly, like most people just leave it to me, whereas I think if I was the couple, I'd be like, yeah, I'd be so annoying. Be like, okay, like let me just choose all the music. But I kind of get it if they're, especially if they're just having my first package, which is just the highlights. I kind of just say, look, this is the website I use. Choose some that you like, but I kind of steer them into the direction where I'm like, look, I'm going to cut to the beat, so choose something that's, you know, got some clicks and claps and, you know, some fun stuff that we can play with, and they usually get it. But most people just go, oh, you just do it, you just pick, which is amazing. So. And
where do you go for your music? Do you have certain places?
I go to music bed.
Okay.
It's my dream to be at the bottom. You know, if you scroll down music bed and then there's like videographers at the bottom. I'm aiming for that. I want that. Maybe up a while.
Earlier you mentioned a bit of a mess up with your Gallagher brother interview in your previous life. Do you have a biggest mistake in the weddings that you're willing to share and reveal?
Let me think. I did see when you sent me the questions yesterday, I was like, oh, I need to sit and think about that, but I didn't sit and think about it. I'm trying to think, like, I've not had I've not had anything go terribly wrong. However, two that I can think of is one, a couple of years ago, I just filmed this ceremony. It was outside, it was beautiful. And I was like, oh, I just want to see if I got that shot or something. So I'd sat down to just go and look at it, and I went into like the first card slot and it was just black. I was just pressing play and it was just black, and I was like, and then my face was just like burning, and like people, like guests were coming over like, oh, it was a beautiful ceremony, wasn't it? Like,
and you're just panicking inside. Yeah. No,
but I took the card out before I was like physically sick. I took the card out, put it in a different slot, could see it, so I don't know what happened there. And then when I first got my C100 and didn't really know what I was doing, for some reason I filmed the ceremony and then just let it roll for so we went from the ceremony on a double-decker bus through London to the venue, and there's just hours and hours of footage of just me talking crap to the photographer. So as far as anything terrible, no.
Who or what has most influenced your style, your filmmaking, your business? It doesn't have to be in the wedding industry. It could just be a film you've watched or a person you follow or a TV show. Yeah,
I think it's definitely like I touched on it earlier, Toby, of like my time at MTV. But even before MTV, I was obsessed with music videos. Like I would sit and watch them for hours. And I think it's maybe like it's my attention span, like 3 minutes is like...
Yeah, you don't do that so much now. I guess you could do it on YouTube, but yeah, I used to have whatever the MTV channel was where it was just non-stop all day.
I just absolutely loved them, and I always thought I would make music videos when I was older, and I did like, even when I was at uni, I did my whole dissertation on music videos. And desperately tried to get into that when I kind of took my bags down to London. But unless you're like a massively famous director, there's just no money in it. Even when I used to work at edit houses in London, like decent artists would get in touch with the edit house and go, we've just shot a music video, but we haven't got any money to edit it. Will you edit it for free? But you'll get it on your show. Yeah, so many, and you'll get it on your show reel, and they would do it. So it's just like, so it's kind of been a really nice little way for me to make my own music videos, and do it with two people that are like massively happy and in love, and everyone's, it's got a whole set is ready for you, and you can just make it into whatever you want. So
your stuff's all very like 90s music video.
Why are you talking about the 90s? So how old do you think I am? Outrageous. Yes, 90s. It's fully 90s.
I mean, is MTV even a thing anymore?
No.
What's the main thing you want to improve upon? Like, I always have, like, every year I'm trying to improve something about the way I do stuff. Do you have a thing this year you're thinking that's what I need to get better?
Yeah, I was definitely the equipment and getting a new camera. That is definitely going to happen when it's like sensible to do so. But the thing I was going to do last year, but it just didn't happen because of everything. I really want to know how to do more kind of animation and graphics. Like, I think in the way that my videos are, I just think it would just make them amazing if I could do amazing animations on top, and that's something I really have no clue about. So
do you mean
I don't know, like just lots of
stuff, or just like
maybe like moving text, moving like images, and I don't know how to do any of that, so it's a whole different world. So yeah, I would like to do a bit of training on that, someone to actually sit down and show me how to do it. So that's my...
So I think you could use After Effects.
Yeah, and I don't know how to...
Bring it in.
And every time I go into it, I'm like, I don't know, so I just close it again.
No, I think it's right to get someone properly to do it, otherwise you're...
Yeah, even if it's just like a day. Like I was speaking to someone, and I was going to go to his studio, and he was going to show me how to do it for like a day, but not allowed.
Final question, what is your top tip for someone who wants to get into videography and maybe wedding videography
in particular? Tips? Well, it's not like it's easy, obviously, but when I was working in TV, you couldn't buy your own camera. Like, cameras were like £20,000-30,000. Like, it wasn't. I think you can buy cameras now, and it's like anyone can buy a camera. And then there's YouTube to teach you how to use it. There's no reason why you can't do it. So anyone can do it, but it's got to. I think my top tip, what would it be? Just have your own style, and don't watch other people's wedding videos. I always get people going, who influences you? What wedding videos? I don't want to watch them. I don't want to watch what other people are doing.
No, I think that's a good point. Not watching other people's stuff. You can get hung up on that. Think there's a certain way of doing it.
Yeah, because if like when I started, I was just like, every single opening shot is of a flower blowing, a flower blowing and then the names come up and then the wide of the venue. Like, I get it, you're setting the scene. But you don't have to do it. You don't have to do it like that. And I think just have a set idea of what you want to do and just go for it and not be scared to kind of repel people that aren't for you. That was one of the best bits of advice I was ever given, because we can't please everyone, can we? And, you know, I can look at your films and go, oh my God, they're beautiful. But it doesn't mean my films aren't for other people. Do you know what I mean? There's just so many different people out there and different videos. So just find your own style, basically.
Okay, that's really good. And then if people want to have a look at your stuff more in depthly, where should they go? How will they find you? I know you're big on Instagram. Instagram's your place, really.
Yeah, Instagram, I'm at Hush by Films, and my website's obviously hushbyfilms.com. But I'm sure you're going to pop it there, aren't you? Yeah.
Well, thanks to Jade for agreeing to come on, for sharing her story, and some great tips for any newcomers. You can find ways to connect with Jade in the description below, as well as links to other projects I have coming up, including my workshop. Thanks again for watching, and see you next time. Final question. What is your top tip for someone starting out in videography? If someone's, you know, as young as you were when you started.
What do you mean? Still am. You!